let me in?
The world ended. Didn't you get the memo?
You said it.
Come on, guys, let's go for a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
So fetch. What is fetch?
Oh, it's like slang from England.
I'm Charlotte Blackwood.
I'm Maverick.
Maverick? Does your mother not like you or something?
Chunk is dead. Don't say that. Never say that. Goonies never say die.
It's the Al Travis Show, and every other week we get him on, and we're lucky to have him, Representative Tim O'Driscoll. Representative, how are you doing today?
I am well. How about you?
I'm fine. Weather changes my attitude a ton and is getting much better, so that helps. But when I think about work stuff, I feel sorry for you, quite frankly. I don't know how you go to work day after day for the rest of us, if you will, and see and hear some of the things you hear every day. I've got a couple of stories on, but first I'd like to get to the positive. Anything positive going on in your life this week at the Capitol?
You know, we ended third week of session already out of 12, and it's been interesting. You can tell that there's an election right around the corner, and I was talking to some guys this morning at coffee, and I said, you know, it just started dawning on me just why things are happening like that. Count with me. The governor's on the ballot, all the constitutional officers, the Secretary of State, the auditor, the Attorney General. But wait, all 67 senators in Minnesota are on the ballot. All 134 House members are on the ballot. All 8 congressional seats are on the ballot. Yep. One of the U.S. Senate seats is on the ballot, and the other one could have an appointment depending upon whether Klobuchar ends up being governor or not. That's the stakes, and that explained it just hit me this morning. It's like, that's why everybody's posturing the way they are right now.
Okay. Okay. Here's my problem, sir. I throw it at you. So yesterday, trying to be the good little radio guy, I watch a bunch of the hearings with Walz and Ellison, correct? I mean, and you're watching them, and sure. Whether you like them or not, they did what they had to do, right? I don't remember that. I'm not sure that number's correct, but I don't have the number. It was just obfuscating, and that's fine. You'd expect nothing else, right? He's got to do what he's got to do. So he doesn't know a lot, didn't know a lot, they didn't know when it started, yada, yada. Then you turn on the Minnesota stuff and some of the things going on in committees here. I have been complaining about the DHS, the new DHS secretary in Minnesota, because, and I don't know her, she was the interim secretary, interim commissioner for the last year. Yeah, commissioner. And I didn't know her except when the auditor came out and said, you know what, I've never seen this before, but a lot of your people are falsifying information. And she looked at her and said, I didn't know that. Well, yesterday, thanks to Representative Knutson, she was interviewing her for a House Services Committee or some committee meeting. Anyway, they were there. And she starts going through this gal's history with us. This gal, who is now the commissioner of the DHS, started out as the chief compliance officer for DHS. So this woman started with us, let's just say, while autism's going on. Starts at $3 million, it goes up to $300 million. She's in charge of compliance. How does this happen? She's in charge. She does such a horrible job, they let her be deputy. She does such a horrible job, she's now in charge. How can this woman be the commissioner?
Here's how, the governor has latitude to appoint people. And the last trifecta that the Democrats had, they changed the rules for confirming commissioners. And so that was always a prerogative of the Senate. And the idea was that the Senate would use that as a tool to be able to make sure that there was good vetting on the commissioner candidates that the governor would send up. Excuse me. And then they would take each individual commissioner, they do a recommendation, they take it to a vote. And if the commissioner didn't get approved, they would not get the job, right?
Yep.
That's checks and balances. The checks and balances were changed to just checks. Who would the governor like to have on here? And the governor has chosen to have someone who's got a spotted past, as was pointed out by you and yesterday in committee, as the DHS secretary. You would think that with the hundreds of millions, pushing billions of dollars that we're looking at, there would be more public outcry. Narrow word.
Well, let's go narrow word. I saw that on X or something. One of my social media feeds, I saw that exchange. And I'm like, wow. I got up this morning, went through all the regular papers, the news stuff, all the stuff that I generally watch, and not a whisper of it. This woman called her out that I didn't know she was the chief compliance officer and it was so bad at it, she got promoted. Here's my point to you, sir. If you watch the governor, like him or not like him, he said what he had to do. I don't know, I can't tell you. He puts in charge the same person who's been running this place as a compliance officer on up for the last 7 or 8 years. He is telling us he doesn't want change. You and I guarantee you, if we had this much hot water around us, would say we're going to have to do something. We're going to put somebody in to change the philosophies around here, to fire somebody. We're getting just more of the same. It's insanity, right? What's the definition of insanity? Keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. How can we expect anything different?
So here's where you and I and a lot of the listeners on this program probably come down on this, right? Land.
Yep.
If I were a commissioner and I had that resume that I was the chief compliance officer during the time that this was going on, what was happening, your job is supposed to be the internal checks and balances to make sure things weren't happening. You were the interim on here, and now the governor has made you the permanent commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
I would have excused myself from this just for the sake of making the governor not look bad, right?
Yeah.
And stepping back. Kristi Noem ended up getting fired yesterday. That's part of the president and in this case the governor's prerogative to be able to get rid of secretaries and commissioners to be able to insulate themselves of I'm doing something, I'm having that done. You would think that they would try to say, you know what, bad luck, we're just going to go with somebody else. We're trying to get this squared away. So the governor has come out and said I'm against fraud until I'm for fraud, or I'm for fraud until I'm against fraud until I'm for fraud, because he's speaking very inconsistently on this topic.
Well, I sit here and you look at the numbers, right? I of all the humans I know, I can't name one that's for fraud, right? No one will stand up and say, I'm for fraud. I really love fraud. So if it's 100-0, the polling on it, how is it we're not going after this any different? You talk about everybody's running for something, so that's why nothing's happening. This is the time to make something happen. The OIG bill, the O'Malley guy came out and said, hey, I don't think he needs an OIG bill. He needs an independent state monitor, which sounds like an OIG, but with different syllables. Everybody seems to agree that we have this need, and you're telling me it's not going to get done. Why should not the Minnesotans just be, again, back to insanity, are we insane if we keep voting the same people in?
Yes.
No.
Yes. I mean, you literally have to vet. You literally have to vet your candidates out, right?
Yeah.
And I go through a vetting process every time I'm on the ballot, and I'm out and about in the community, and my record is very public. And I have very, very, if any, pushback from people about the way that I represent this area, and that's on both sides of the aisle, because I represent our people and I represent doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Can I go back to your statement that you made before you asked that question?
Sure.
You said, you used the term, any human, and then you moved on.
Yeah.
That's kind of a new word that's taking, popping up in vocabulary right now. It's not people, it's not folks, it's human. That has always just caught my attention. Is that like the word police out there now, changing stuff, or what is that? What's that all about?
You know what? And maybe I just throw that out there. I don't know. I'm going to have to watch myself as I say. I don't know what I meant by it, other than I just can't believe we will keep voting the same way if you're against what's going on, because this administration has said, I'm going to keep the same people in place doing the same thing. And even though he sat in front of a committee yesterday saying he knew nothing about what was going on, doesn't seem to want to fix it. Anyway, I got to go to break. I got more stuff that's in my craw. We'll talk about it with Representative Tim O'Driscoll on the Al Travis Show right after this.
At LGH Wealth Management, our mission is to create financial empowerment through independent, personalized, and authentic financial planning. That means meeting you where you are and helping you get where you want to go. Whether you're a business owner planning for growth, succession, or a future sale, or a hardworking individual looking to get ahead, reduce stress, and tackle life's financial challenges, we're here to help. From retirement planning and investment management to tax-efficient strategies, estate planning, and risk management, LGH Wealth delivers comprehensive guidance you can trust. Call LGH Wealth Management today at 507-525-7324. That's 507-525-7324. Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Incorporated, JWC, member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Incorporated, JWCA. Lubeck Geisler Ham Wealth Management Incorporated and JWC JWCA are unaffiliated entities.
The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
Very lucky to have him with us. He's Representative Tim O'Driscoll. Representative, another thing kind of drives me a little crazy. So we're talking about Department of Human Services. Things not changing. To me, it's a complete culture thing. Do you remember the cat, the guy, I got his name here somewhere. It doesn't really matter, I guess. 33-year-old, a guy named Adams, Dylan Adams. He keyed 6 Teslas downtown Minneapolis. You remember that cat? Are you with me? Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, go
All
ahead.
right, yeah, he did $20,000 worth of damage to 6 Teslas. He was upset that somebody said Elon Musk did the Hail Hitler salute.
Yep.
He didn't get prosecuted. He pled to something. He's got to do a diversion program. And I presume that's probably what they would do to most 16-year-old children. I don't know prosecution-wise if that bothers me much. But here's the other side. A letter from DHS to him. Your behavior and substantiated by investigations constitutes a violation of DHS, Minnesota Management Budget Policies. You are to be held to the highest standard of honesty, integrity, and ethical trust. So they suspended him for 1 day. There is no penalty in DHS for doing the wrong thing. If that is their standard, the highest honesty, integrity, and ethical trust, how in the world are the multiple people that the auditor said faked and postmarked paperwork when she was looking for, how are they still with us?
Yeah, again, that's how powerful the executive branch is. And, the legislature passes the laws and appropriates the money, and the executive branch is the one who goes out and implements the law. And they have a lot of latitude over there. And the unfortunate part about this, and I've seen this in my legislative career, is that the Democrats have traditionally, when they get the opportunity, like a trifecta, or have the ability to do, because they have 2 of the 3 chambers or the governor's office and 1 of the 2 chambers surrounded, They like to push for the governor's office shall, the commissioner shall, and taking power away from the legislature and giving it to the executive branch. And so this whole idea that some people talk about no more kings, we're building a kingdom for the governor in the state of Minnesota. And I have fought against that my entire legislative career. Keep the power of the legislature in the hands of the legislature. Don't turn it over. And the sole reason I come up with why they're doing this is so that if on the off chance that they don't have one of the chambers, or if they fall out of the majority in the legislature, they still have an empowered governor, because Democrats do better statewide elections than Republicans do right now, and where people's thought processes are and who they should be electing to the highest office in the state of Minnesota.
A side note, just because I want to get to something else, but it also crushes the opposition in that on the other side of this roughly the same story, the Republican influencer that kicked over an ICE statue, the word ICE actually, on the state capitol grounds, he's looking at 5 years in prison. You can key 6 people's cars for $20,000. This guy knocked over an ice cube. And granted, he shouldn't have done it. I'm not sticking up for him, but he's looking at 5 years. It depends what side of the aisle you're on. You know what I'm saying? That's the only difference. Let me do this. The other thing that happened that I couldn't believe happened, it was in the House Workforce Committee. I think it was Representative Pinto. He was talking about they had done a story, a survey, a study on the cost of organized retail theft in Minnesota. What's that cost us? And he said straight out of the, I'm paraphrasing, but, I got thinking about this. Have we done a study on the benefits of organized retail theft? Because some of these people are probably getting something out of this, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. Are you seriously, sir, have to listen to somebody say we should do a study to see the benefits to the state of Minnesota when people steal from us?
That is the mentality right now, Al,
that is
of
crazy.
Where people are at. Yep. That is the mentality, and that's what happens when you don't have power shifting from one party to the other over time. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. They get into a vacuum about what they think is their values and what's right, and they're going to justify this by saying, well, there's a lot of people who are downtrodden, and there's a lot of people who don't have things. So if they're stealing from this rich corporation, which don't pay taxes and which don't, and they've got themselves all convinced about why corporations and why businesses are bad, that this is somehow justified, and your Robin Hood, stealing from the rich and giving to the poor.
Well, see, this is how this goes, and this is just me playing it down the road. So we'll pay a couple $1 million for a study. You never pay less than a couple million. So I'll give it to me. I'll do you a study. You'll do the study and find out that the poor robbers, they steal $100 stereo. Can you get a stereo for $100? $100 stereo from Target, but they can't sell it for $100 because it's hot, right? And they're getting 50 cents on the dollar, so they're only making $50 for the risking $100. They're going to ask for reparations. They're going to say, we need to pay the robbers the other 50% because they're being short-cheated on the buying end. And no, you laugh. Why else would you do this?
No, I'm laughing because it's actually true. I mean, there's actually there's actually solid truth to that rationale. There's absolutely. It's like we must pay reparations because when they stole the $100, and by the way, they're not stealing a stereo. That's just you and me, our generation.
That's how old I am.
But what they're stealing, item X, and they were unable to get, the fair market value for item X because it was, they had to sell it at a discount because there were so many item X's that were stolen that were flooded in the market that the market just wouldn't bear the cost, and there was a crash in this and whatever. It's like, you can't make this stuff up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how you sit in meetings across from some people, and I've met the Pinto guy. He seems like a nice enough guy. I don't get it. And I thought maybe he misspoke, and I watched it over and over again. No, he was really rationalizing maybe there's a good side to theft, and he wanted to find a way, an angle to get in there. I could not sit there, sir. I give you street cred, because at some point I'd walk up to somebody, and I just want to slap him alongside the back of the head of my dad would and say, what are you thinking, son? My dad would have done that. I couldn't do what you do. I give you credit for doing it.
So do you know what Representative Pinto does for a living outside of the legislature?
No, not off the top of my head. Lawyer?
He's a Ramsey County prosecutor.
Get it? No way.
Yep.
You couldn't write some of this stuff as a movie script. Okay. I probably
And that's
didn't
why
need
I'm
to know that.
laughing, because it's like it's just the psyche of this whole thing, right? It's like
The poor
you know,
robbers.
he'd be standing there in court going, well, we have to show leniency to these people because, and it's like, what?
Yeah. All right. I got to go. I'm out of time. Sir, keep up the good work. Thank you for
Yep,
taking the
take
time
care.
to come on this program. I appreciate you. I really do.
See you later.
He's Representative Tim O'Driscoll on the Al Travis Show.